Let's just dive right into this explainer, okay? Today, we are completely rethinking how we look at the world's absolute most expensive masterpieces. We're exploring this truly fascinating perspective on art, leadership, and, well, wealth that goes way beyond simple aesthetics or those flashy auction house records.
So imagine acquiring an incredibly rare masterpiece. Let's say it's valued at a staggering 50 billion won. Now, this is exactly the kind of legendary acquisition made by top corporate titans and elite collectors all over the globe, right? And when a piece like this enters your life, it's a major event. But what actually happens next?
You see, most people out there think of a painting like this as just a static financial asset. You know the drill. You hang it up, you insure it, and you just kind of hope it appreciates in value. But let's completely challenge that idea today. Is that painting really just sitting there on the wall? Or is it actually a dynamic, working force in your life and your business?
Which brings us to Section 1, the hidden energy of art. To really get this, we have to look right past that massive price tag. Think of a masterpiece as having immense mass, or energy. It's basically like a giant battery. When you bring a 50 billion won piece of art into your space and you genuinely resonate with its high quality, it immediately starts charging your life, literally. Because you're so inspired and energized by it, the work you do outside your home or your office suddenly flows so much better. That invisible energy can indirectly generate hundreds of billions of won in business success simply by elevating your mindset.
And that leads us to Section 2, the life cycle of masterpieces.
So this energetic boost we just talked about, it doesn't last forever in a vacuum. Art actually has a life cycle. Step 1 is acquisition. As we just discussed, this brings a massive energy boost. Your business absolutely booms. But then, inevitably, we hit Step 2, which is saturation. Over time, you absorb all of its energy. You walk past it in your corporate lobby or your living room, and it just becomes background noise. Finally, if you do nothing, you hit Step 3, stagnation. The energy of the art gets trapped, and as a direct result, your own momentum completely stalls out.
When you greedily hold on to the art after its energy is depleted for you, the flow completely stops. The artwork just loses its inspirational power, and the owner's business growth stalls out because, well, that elevated energy is faded. The art usually gets banished to some dark warehouse. And here is the really tricky psychological trap. Because the owner remembers the rush of that initial success, they start seeking out even more expensive art. Say a 500 billion won piece, just to feel that high all over again. But if they just hoard that too, the cycle inevitably repeats. It's a dead end.
Let's look at how to fix this in Section 3, the law of circulation. So how on earth do we break this cycle of hoarding? Well, the ultimate solution is the law of circulation, which is achieved through the really profound act of hasa, which translates roughly to bestowing or gifting. Once you've absorbed the initial energy of an artwork, the absolute worst thing you can do is lock it away. You must bestow it to someone else. Passing it on releases that trapped energy, charging someone else's life, while simultaneously creating massive strategic advantages for yourself. It's a real win-win.
There are two primary ways to circulate this. First, gifting downwards. Just imagine you're a CEO. You bestow a masterpiece upon your most brilliant executive. Now to you, the energy was spent, but to them, receiving such a treasure from their leader is totally life-changing. It creates fierce, uncompromising loyalty. Conversely, there's gifting upwards. Presenting a masterpiece to a superior or a key benefactor expresses just immense gratitude. By elevating their environment, you unlock massive indirect support. They now have the disposition to open doors for you that you could honestly never open yourself.
Moving on to Section 4, history's greatest art gifts.
Now, this concept isn't just some modern business theory. It was actually used by history's most powerful leaders. The Qing dynasty understood this perfectly. They didn't just hoard beautiful porcelain in their palaces. No way. They operated royal kilns specifically to create masterpieces for the sole purpose of bestowing them as hasa gifts. Foreign envoys were given these incredible works to take home. They literally used the energy of these masterpieces to build a massive global network of loyalty, tribute, and diplomatic power.
Unfortunately, modern society has kind of lost sight of this whole dynamic. We often treat art as a mere commodity, to be bought low and sold high, hoarding pieces in private vaults where their energy just dies. Plus, because the pure synergistic purpose of gifting has been so corrupted by bribery over the years, governments have had to implement strict anti-graft laws, like South Korea's Kim Jong-ran Act, for example. Now, while those are meant to stop corruption, these laws are really a symptom of a society that has completely lost the true cultural meaning behind the exchange of masterpieces.
Which brings us to our final part, Section 5, Culture over Commodity. It all really comes down to a choice. Are you a merchant or a cultural leader? The merchant chases money directly. They treat art as a product to flip, operating on pure calculation and greed. But nature doesn't really reward the merchant with true, lasting greatness. The cultural leader, on the other hand, operates on a totally higher frequency. They genuinely enjoy the art, which elevates their mindset. Then, they use that law of circulation to empower others, and because of this, they naturally attract loyal followers and generate massive influence. It's night and day.
It ultimately boils down to this really beautiful, actionable formula. Step 1. Cultivate a genuine love for culture. Don't buy a painting just because the price might go up. Buy it because it actually moves you. Step 2. Because you're engaged with high culture, your own energy elevates, naturally attracting incredible talented people to you. And step 3, economic wealth naturally follows the people. With a network of empowered, loyal individuals around you, economic prosperity is just an effortless byproduct. You don't chase the money, you cultivate the culture.
There's a quote that perfectly captures the whole essence of this explainer. If you are greedy for the artwork, the world stops. If you enjoy the culture, the economy follows. When you lock a masterpiece in a vault, you literally kill its momentum. But by appreciating art and circulating its energy to build up those around you, you create a dynamic, thriving ecosystem where success is pretty much inevitable. The invisible energy of art absolutely must be circulated, never captured.
So as we wrap up, I want to leave you with this thought to consider regarding your own life. Look at the assets you hold, the knowledge you possess, and the relationships you've built. Are you just hoarding expensive objects and keeping your resources locked away? Or are you actively circulating your culture, your energy, and your assets to empower others and become a true leader? The way you answer that, well, it might just determine the very limits of your future success.